Hello amateur technology friends, welcome to a new channel video. Today we introduce a real featherweight, a mini stabilized drone that's ready to make a strong impact in its category. And it's this Potensic Atom which comes with certain improvements over its previous version and features a camera. 4000, a 3-axis gimbal and a weight of less than 249 grams. Ideal for beginners and getting started, and besides it features automatic tracking modes like spotlight and very good flight capabilities. It comes with this remote control with this nicely finished controller and this unusual antenna that we're not used to seeing much on this type of controller. So let's put it to the test and see how it works here at TechGround. Potensic is a brand that has been specializing for years in the entry-level and mid-range drone segment. And besides, they've also been positioning themselves for a while as a more affordable alternative to the giants of the industry. With this Atom, it seems they've created their most ambitious piece so far and are going to make a strong entry into the world of compact drones. If you like this kind of content, straightforward and in-depth analysis, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Now let's do the unboxing so you can see what was inside its box. We find a simple white box where we see the Potensic model here on the front in a picture. We open this little flap here and what appears is the carrying bag, just like in other models. And we see a bag of synthetic material, kind of like leather. It's quite large. Let's open the little bag and look inside. We see this mesh pocket where we'll find the user manual and important settings. The charger. The charger is also interchangeable like the ones we've seen in other products. Here we have several tools. Small screws with the screwdriver for the propeller screws. Cable. Here it tells us how to charge the controller. We see the logo, USB-A to USB-C cable, USB-C to USB-C to connect, I suppose, from the remote control to our phone. And of course, a USB-C to lightning cable is included. 4 full sets of propellers. That's fantastic. The batteries and charger come completely empty. They could at least have some charge for immediate flying. 2 more plus the one it will have on, I suppose, the controller, a good controller, as you can see, a pretty big controller, quite substantial. Down here we have the joysticks, and well, they go directly, just like in all remote controls for drones. Down here, the connections for the cable, and all that's left is the drone itself. Very well protected, as always. As Potensic has us used to, the protector for the gimbal, for the camera. And here we have the little gadget. Well, as you've seen, this is everything that comes with it. There are a lot of things included. We get the battery charger with the 3 batteries, the adapter with the charger, and the screws with the screwdriver. The charging cable, the radio control, the remote. The 2 cables to connect our device. 4 spare propellers, the drone, the radio control, and the user manual. The truth is, the package is very complete. Okay, as always, I'm going to start by talking about the dimensions of the product. Let's see how this Potensic Atom is built and what its design is like. And it would have a folded size of 14.5 centimeters by 8.8 by 5.8 centimeters, and when unfolded, 18.3 by 19.6 by 5.8 centimeters. The Atom 2 weighs just under the 250 gram registration limit and features a robust build. Good quality plastic solid feel without being premium. The camera is mounted on this 3-axis gimbal, and on the bottom we have the ground sensors but no obstacle avoidance sensors. But well, that's to be expected in this kind of range. Now I'll tell you about the camera specifications, since it has a 1/2-inch complementary metal oxide semiconductor sensor. It would also have a 26mm lens and a maximum aperture of f1.8. Honestly, it's very good with a 4/3 format. For color, we have standard and high dynamic range profiles. However, in 8-bit, there are no logarithmic profiles available. However, Potensic has told us that in upcoming updates, they will release P-Log. We'll also see what range it reaches in post-production. A slightly flatter profile at least, so you can adjust the color later on. But I would definitely miss those 10 bits to be able to work later with greater color depth. It records in 4K, 2.7K with aspect ratio 16:9, 4:3, 9:16 at 24:25 and 30 frames per second. In this case, we will have the option to record vertically by cropping the sensor. Also at 24, 25 and 30 FPS, and if we switch to 1080 we'll have the same 16:9, 4:3 and 9:16. but in this case we can go up to 50 and 60 frames per second. Also having the option for slow motion of photos at 8000 JPEG and RAW at 12 megapixels and JPEG at 48 megapixels. It also has the option for burst timer and bracketing from 3 to 5 photos. You can take pictures while recording. The image quality is quite good, but it has a slight excess of sharpness and digital saturation, which is very common in drones of this category. It has a maximum bitrate of 100 megabytes per second. And it also has a quick transfer feature, which will allow us to download our photos and videos faster to our phone. It also has an artificial intelligence night mode, which ranges from 100 to 25,000 ISO, which can give us images that are a bit more compressed from the sensor but much sharper. It also provides brighter footage at night and impressive stabilization even in winds up to 37.28 miles ace. As for its batteries, the combo we purchased, it comes with 3 batteries and a charger with its hub. Plus, they all charge at the same time. It doesn't charge one, then another, then another. That's actually pretty positive. And they're 2,230 milliamp batteries, also rechargeable individually via USB-C, which gives it that extra advantage. They're also compatible with previous model batteries, but heavier. Be careful with the weight when using that battery type, as you could exceed 8.78 ounces per the manufacturer. They tell us it's 32 minutes of flight per battery, but in reality it's around 20 to 22 minutes, more or less. It also depends on the speed at which we're flying the drone, the wind conditions, and the resistance we encounter, including the weather. Regarding transmission and video, we have this controller that will allow us to have super low latency so we can control our drone and get real-time images in 1080p at up to 30 frames per second. This surpasses previous versions from the same brand and features the new PicSync system. 4.0 with a transmission range up to 6.21 miles, which is the maximum, though practically no drone actually reaches that distance. With laboratory tests, as brands usually do, in this case Federal Communications Commission, and 6 kilometers Conformité Européenne. As mentioned earlier, this controller has improvements in its body, aesthetics, and material composition. Take a look. We have 2 customizable buttons, also on the back. C1 and C2, which we can assign whatever function we want through the app. These joysticks are also very well finished in this silver color and have 2 dials on the back. With the right one, because we can zoom in on the image, a zoom that we can control manually, and with the left dial. As you would expect, you can lower and raise the gimbal tilt, okay, and up here on this little button, you can also take both photos and videos. And down on the front, we find the button to turn on the controller. Okay, this way we have the radio control and the H button. Okay, to program and make a descent if we want at any point, or a safety descent in emergencies. At the bottom, we find the USB port to connect our device to our phone. And 2 ports we have here, 2 1/4-inch threads in case we want to attach a strap and make it more comfortable to carry. As you can see, this antenna is very compact and we usually avoid extending both antennas. And well, it's very ergonomic and honestly very practical. And regarding the intelligent flight modes, it will have quick shot modes like drone, boomerang, orbit, spiral, rocket, and the spotlight parallel and tracking mode. To follow objects or vehicles at speeds up to 24.85 miles h. But of course, the shots it takes are quite tilted and pretty far away. But well, we have this mode. The truth is that it's really great that they included it, and we also have that more advanced option compared to other drones in this segment. Even so, the only thing I would miss are the waypoints, which we did have in the Atom 4K model, so we could program our own flight and set coordinate points. According to Potensic, it will likely be included in future updates. I'll show you how the interface works so you can see the app. We're in the middle of the field and the bugs are biting me like crazy. And at the top, we can already see the smart transfer that has found the drone. We already have the intelligent transfer, and it also shows us the countdown to acquire the Potensic cave. Alright, in this case, we have 44 hours left to get insurance, which in case of accidents or any kind of circumstance will cover us through the app with what the brand itself provides. Alright, on the left, we see Academy for learning various types of flying. The video tutorial manuals, the gallery where we have access to everything, videos, photos, favorites. Here we have our account and fly. Now we'll go directly into the drone, okay? As we can see, it tells us that flying is allowed. We have the end takeoff permitted. At the top right, I'm tapping the gimbal tilt angle. We currently have 24 connected satellites. The remote control shows all 4 coverage bars. The battery percentage here tells us, should I return on it? The forced landing and battery consumption type are shown. The latency, which I'm currently moving, is also displayed. For what is the video signal, okay? On the right, tap the 3 dots, go to safety. Enable beginner flight mode to limit the flight altitude to 30 meters. And the flight mode will also be limited to the video mode, okay? I'm going to turn it off here, it says so. Set altitude to 65 yards, altitude limit to 65 yards, and distance limit to 543 yards. The parameters can be changed in the settings under safety. Video speed settings, meaning how we're going to operate the drone, normal video, or sport mode. It will require us to have a minimum distance of 8 meters. In case of signal loss, what will it do if the signal is lost? I've set it to return automatically if the drone flies too far. Should it land or hover when it comes back? We have to keep this in mind and be careful. Depending on where we are flying, which one are we going to choose? Return altitude, I'm going to set it a little higher. I'm going to set it to 100 meters for the return altitude. I've set the max altitude to 109 yards and max distance to 549 yards. I believe that's sufficient. In Spain, you must keep the drone within sight at all times. So while having these kinds of limits is more of a responsibility, which in the end is ours, and we have to be aware of that. Take off with one hand, we can activate it. So if we want to set it with this lever down and with the C1 here, it tells us we can activate it. Careful with the emergency propeller flight lever, the drone would drop straight down if activated. And the rest, the current temperature, the current and voltage of the battery right now. In the calibration, the compass, gimbal calibration on the controller, the lever mode, which here we have mode 1, mode 2, or customize it. Controller intro, button customization, stick sensitivity, max tilt speed, and gimbal mode. We can set it to stable mode or first person view mode. A mode like drones, which is a bit more advanced. And as for the camera, well, adjust white balance, the lines, if we want to have some guides, the thirds, the X, or the point. The standard color or high dynamic range, the recordings per second, when it starts recording after 1, 3, or 5 seconds. The encoding format, the card capacity, what we have inserted right now, we can format it. On the right, scrolling down, you'll find the recording modes. There are 2 modes, the normal and artificial intelligence, which activates only during flight. The slow motion mode, which goes up to 5 times. And we can also switch between photo mode, where we can choose single BRK, burst 8000, and a timer of up to 30 seconds. And finally, the panoramic mode. We also have direct access to the gallery, and here we also have automatic mode and manual mode, where we can choose the quality settings. In 1080, we'll have the option to go from 24 frames per second, 25, 30, 50, and 60 in these 3 formats. 2.7K, which will also allow us to go to 9:16. As seen here, it's a direct crop from the sensor, which will provide the recording option. 69 and 4:3 aspect ratios up to 30 FPS in 4K, but only at 69. Here we can format the card and choose between high dynamic range or standard color mode. And finally, here on the left we have the map, which as you can see switches between a map thumbnail and an image thumbnail. And here we'll have options to delete the coordinates, choose the point where we are located and where it's set. Also landing and the standard satellite and night layers, so we can choose between those types of layers and view them. Option to find my drone. Activate the beep to make the drone start beeping if it gets lost. Let's get flying for a bit. We have a 16:9 set here. Also, as I mentioned before, we can choose between high dynamic range and standard. As you can see, the color changes a bit and we have a little more depth. Let's see how it performs. Let's go. Right now we're about 100 meters away, and obviously there are no obstacles at about 300 meters. And right now we have full remote control signal. I can barely see the drone. If I tilt it down, we can see there's nothing below. Now we turn, and yes, we already have trees in front of us, and the signal, the view here remains intact and looks amazing. Let's gain a little altitude. We're quite far away, and the truth is that it hasn't learned a lot of signal. The altitude has been reached, maximum valley. The drone has reached this altitude limit and is performing well. Let's bring it back. Here we have it. When it comes to landing, also with the H button, if we hold it down, you can see that we have the return or the landing option. In this case, it's going to send it to land, it's going to descend. And that's it. As you've seen, it behaves very well. I didn't put it, as I was telling you, too far behind the trees. We're in an area, in a natural setting. I don't want the drone to get stuck out there. But anyway, we went about 400 meters away, we flew over trees, we went down a bit, and it barely lost any signal. Yes, it's true that I've tried it in other scenarios on other occasions. And when you get behind obstacles and houses, it's true that it loses a bit of signal. And maybe at 300 meters, once you get behind an obstacle, the signal drops to 1 bar, 2 bars, but even so, it still maintains that connection. With Pixie Sync 4.0, we get fast, real communication. Let's see how long it takes to download the files with Smart Transfer. I'm starting the screen recording now. Here, as we can see, Smart Transfer is on with the drone connected. Apply, Smart Transfer is activated. Alright, it has detected me. We connect. Connected to the device, it has connected successfully. Let's see, we're all set. For instance, in this 10-minute video, I perform a sort of loop. Here we're going to see how it looks very good. The transmission quality right now is very good. Let's download it. The loading wheel indicates it's downloading. Well, look, more or less in less than 30 seconds. The file has been saved locally. Let's go to the gallery. Here it is. We can see it here. A very, very, very good quality. As you can see, wonderful. Well, this is the file transfer speed. Now, let's examine a photo. We'll download this 8K photo as an example. It takes around 10 seconds to download an 8K image. The photo has been saved locally. Let's go back to the gallery again and let's see. Here we have the photo. Truthfully, the 8K resolution is quite good. It's honestly fast, including the file management. Well, my general conclusions. After thoroughly testing the drone, after using up all 3 batteries, as you can see here, there are no batteries left. I've already put them back in their case. For less than 400 euros, with the standard version at 340 euros, this drone is more than enough to get started. For beginners, for people who want to have a drone with optimal quality within the range of this type of drones, hey, honestly, it's one of the best in terms of value. I'd say the remote works wonderfully, and the antenna has very low latency and great resolution. In the 1080 video, when we're working live with those 30 frames per second, it gives us a very real view of the remote way we're working. And is it true that it has very low latency? But from 400 to 450 meters away, also depending a bit on the environment. I had almost full coverage, but the latency did drop a little. There was a slight delay. But when it comes to flight modes, first-person view works very well. It has an excellent response, is very powerful and moves with amazing speed. It's dizzying to work with, even as a beginner drone. The combo version I have, the Fly More, includes everything. 3 batteries for 96 minutes of flight time, the remote control, and all accessories. It's 440 euros, 450 approximately. And it's within reach for anyone who wants to get a drone. To get started or to have fun, take it on a trip and capture their best moments from the air. We've been here in a place, honestly quite beautiful, next to the river. The drone. Even though there was a bit of wind, we were in winds of 15 to 20 kilometers per hour at most. It responded very well, and that's it. My recommendation is that if you want a drone and don't want to spend a lot of money, this Potensic Atom 2 is the solution. As for general features, the app is very dynamic and has all the flight modes. The logarithmic profile would be missed, but the materials and construction are excellent. That's all. I want to read your comments. What do you think if you've worked with Potensic? Compared to, for example, DJI or other brands I've tried, it has nothing to envy. Of course, we do miss those 10 bits, but other than that, I want to read your comments. What do you think? Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed the review and overview, please support the channel with a like. And that's it. This has been everything for today's video. Thank you so much for watching us. A like is really appreciated. Support the channel by subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss the next videos here from Tech Crowd. See you soon.